Hello and welcome to the Youth Intake Challenge episode 35. We are just getting ready towards the 12th season. In this episode we're going to have the end of season review from season 11, catch up on the final 6 results. We're going to have a bit of an evaluation of the squad and what we want to do in the summer. I'll then update you on who leaves contractually as we get to the 1st of July, and then we'll see how the squad settles up, give us our 25-man squad and play the opening game of season 12. So lots to unpack. Within that, we'll also try and introduce me a bit more to the training schedule. It's something I've largely passed on to my coaches and staff at the club, but this time we're going to try and get a little bit more involved, see if we can develop players we want. So it should be an exciting episode. Stay tuned. And so here we go, end of season review. Hopefully I'll have time-stamped everything in this video as well. I've never done it before, but hopefully I can segregate out so that those who want to look at particular aspects of the video can. This one will be largely focusing on the end of season review, but without saying anything more on it, let's get into it. So 2034-35 season, in terms of new arrivals again, nothing in. Transfer out-wise, we let Bellingham go. Now, I think that might have been a bit of a mistake in hindsight, although he was only 2-star. And he's touted as a B-, so it's a good move to sell him. I don't think we had enough depth really to cover it. Potter did as best as he could. We have got some fullbacks coming for next season, but I think it was an area we were largely weak at throughout the whole season. Alex Moody moved on. Again, he was never really going to get in up front for us, so we really let him go. In terms of the loans out, we let Mike Martin go. Really promising young American centre-half, but he wasn't getting the game time at us. Sent him off to Milwaukee Wave. Hopefully we'll reintroduce him to the squad slightly better now in his development and his rotation as he comes into the 25-man squad. Darren Nelson, again another striker, not really going to get in our first team, so again he'll probably get loaned out again. And Darren Byrne as well, a centre-back who I don't think he's going to come back and do much in terms of the first team. He might surprise me, but I don't think he's developed enough to kind of make an impact. In terms of the season's results then, as we've previously seen with the Cups, we got knocked out quite early in all of them, so I'm not going to focus too much on them. In terms of the league, I think a bit of a disaster all told. We didn't really build on last season. I think we finished a couple places lower. Final 6 games, we did seem to get a little bit better. We got 2 draws, 2 wins, 2 losses, which is a fairly fair spread. The highlight of them probably being a 3-1 win away at Tranmere. That settled us into 20th position in the league. We ended up being a good 10 points clear of relegation, which is fine. But when you're looking at where we might get towards playoff territory, we're a good 27 points off that. And it's going to be quite hard to bridge that gap as we move into the new season. Moments to remember them. Biggest win, 4-1 at Wickham. 2 goals for Dunk there, which is probably my one promising thing from last season is Dunk scored quite a few goals in his first full season, and we'll look to build on that as we move into season number 12. An away win at Bromley is a match to remember. Hams and Patterson with the goals, coming from a goal down. And then goal of the season was Moses scoring a 2-0 win over Sutton. In terms of the finances, I mean, they say we've gone up in everything there, which is probably true. However, our finances have actually gone down due to some of the facilities and that we've created as we build towards a much better youth system. It's short-term pain for long-term gain. It doesn't look pretty, but I think longer term, when we start getting the introduction of the increased youth rating and the better facilities, the players we get through the system will be slightly better, and we'll be able to start pushing up the leagues a little bit more. How we lined up, again, this has got the formation that we switched to towards the second half of the season just to get some points on the board. So Fredericks in goals, a back four of Brathwaite, Atianza, McAvoy and Potter. Fairly fair. Peterson and Spence in the middle. I'm not sure Raxo probably played a lot more games than maybe Peterson did. And Woodrager is a little bit unlucky to miss out on there. Dimitriadis on the left, who I think might get usurped by Todo as we move through the summer. Moses on the right. His place is a little bit in jeopardy as well. And we've got Duncan Hams up front. Hams we're going to let go. I think we've taken a couple free transfer offers for him, so we're going to let him move on. Dunk's going to become the first choice striker, and one of the other youth prospects is probably play the understudy for him. So that's what we're going to do for next season, and a formation change, I think, as well. No awards for us as a manager. Unfortunate, but we didn't have a great season. Player of the season was Fredericks, which just shows you the impact the goalkeeper had. Young player of the season was Hams. I don't agree with that at all. I think Dunk, who got 16 goals, would have been my choice for that, but again, I don't choose it. Goal of the season, Moses, as we've seen. Most assists, Moses. So again, he's had a good season on that right-hand side. and most passes completed per 90 minutes was Christopher Friday, the 16-year-old centre-back from Nigeria, who I think is going to have a prominent part to play in this next season coming. And most league appearances by a player, Atienza, no surprise really. He's been here since the start, 432 appearances, still only 26, so we'll see if we can get a few more out of him yet. History in the making. I mean, we stayed up in the division, which was our aim, so relegation avoided. We've got Brustad and Van Hoovel coming through the youth system this time round, and 50 points is our new record low. I think we broke the record for a number of draws as well, so that's something we've got to change next season. But that is the review. I'll get through and get to the next bit. I think we'll probably look at the players we're going to keep, the players we're not going to let go. So if we just go straight into the squad, largely it's going to be dictated by the contracts. Now, I think all of those are going to go. So they're the 2035 contracts. So Byrne, Gunders, Horney, Williams, Nelson and Spencer. That lets 6 go out. We have had 6 come in through the youth system, so that balances it out. In terms of the players in the senior squad, we're letting go Hams, Spencer, Wodrago's an iffy one. I'm not sure if I'll probably offer him a contract because we need that kind of experience in the middle of the park. He's 25, one of the senior players. But there are some players within this that I'm thinking of maybe letting move on at some point. So Moses is going to run out of potential soon. Who else is down there? Craig Potter. I think he's going to get usurped at right back, especially when you look at some of the newer players that have come through. And I don't know if they're easy to pick out from here, but probably if we sort them by potential. There we go. So Brustad, he's going to be the new first choice right back, I think, but yeah, we'll get through. So what I'll do is I'll click through to the 1st of July, I think it is, when we let the players go. I'll give you an update on which players have gone. We'll have a little bit of a play on what we think the 25-man squad's going to look like for the first teamers and who we're going to potentially send out on loan. At that point then, once we've got the 25 nailed down, we'll look at the formation and then we'll probably have a little dip into the training as well. So stick around and we'll see how we get on. Welcome back again. So here we go. We've got to the 1st of July and the transfers out are as follows through 3 transfer. We've got Ali Gunders, the young centre-half from Turkey. We've let him go. Again, he wasn't going to get in there. His contract was due renewal, so we let him go. Gabriel Horney, again, another one. Was never going to get in at left back. His potential threshold was way off the pace, only at 2.5 star. Stephen Williams, who'd been with the club for a while. Again, his potential from when he joined has dropped massively. Darren Nelson, similar, not too bad a striker actually, but he was never going to fit in. Lamar Hams, who was one of the top scorers for Dulwich Hamlet, we've had to let him go just to fit in new players, and he doesn't really fit in elsewhere in the team, so he's moved on, largely due to the fact that his technical ability is dreadful really, and he was never going to score enough goals with that kind of low ability. Stephen Spencer, another one to miss out. Really good mental ability. He's a young Welsh striker. I say young, 25, but again, his technical's probably not there, neither his physicals. And the one I'm a bit disappointed about, Nwisa Wodrago, who I did want to just keep on for one more season, just to give us a bit of flexibility and first team experience. However, he wouldn't sign a new contract. I tried, and he wouldn't go. So that's where we went. So 7 have gone out. We obviously had the 6 or 7 came in through the youth system, which has led me to select this as the 25-man squad. So you'll see a couple absences we'll go through in a minute, but again, goalkeeper-wise, we've got Fredericks and Borrowdale. If I switch this to the squad planner view, might be a little bit easier. So there's the 2 goalkeepers, one really experienced, one young, but he has still a high potential threshold. And we have got a third one, Raymond Isaka in the wings, if he needs to come in the future. Left back, we've got Louis Branthwaite. He's going to carry on initially, but I think Matthew Nell has a higher potential threshold, so we're going to look to introduce him into the squad, the young Northern Irish left back. And again, as the season goes on, I think we'll look to get him some game time and introduce him as best we can. On the right hand side then, now this is a bit controversial, but I'm going to drop Potter out of the right back positions entirely, and I'm going to go for a full endeavour with Callum Coleman and Uli Christian Brustad. Brustad's obviously the long term. He's got the highest potential threshold. He's going to take a few games to get him in there and get him running. I might start him straight away and just see how he beds in, but they're the 2 we're going to go with initially. Centre half, I've gone for 6. So McAvoy and Atienza, absolute stalwarts. Christopher Friday, who I think is the best of the rest, and he's got a high potential threshold, so I want to see him get in there. Craig Potter, I've moved in from the wings, and he adds additional cover at either wing if we need him. However, at 197 centimetres tall, I think he's more of a centre-back anyway, so he's been reintroduced into the pool of centre-halves. Montel Clifford, he's come back from loan, so we'll bring him in, 17-year-old centre-back with some good potential, so he's one of them. And then Kent Chaney, again, another young player who's 185 centimetres tall, so he's quite tall. He's got some quite good stats, but as a six-man centre-backs, I think the bulk of it's going to be done by the top four. We'll introduce another couple as we go. We have got Mike Martin as well to come back from loan, the young American we've seen before. He might also fit in there as a seventh, depending on how we settle the squad down. Right back, we've done, so centre-backs, centre midfielders, so we've got Raxo and Peterson as a defensive two. I think we're going to persevere with these midfield three, just because we've got Raxo, Peterson and Spence as a really good trio in the middle. I've got to give them as much game time as possible and make the most of them. On the left, so like the more advanced attacking midfielder role, we've got Spence, Peterson, Dimitriadis. I'm going to kind of try and develop into a central midfielder to give Itodo some game time on the left wing. Jerry Mandanda, who I think looks like a terrific player. We don't play with an advanced midfielder, but I think if we train him to be a centre midfielder, he's a ready-made Spence replacement, and he can play the ball-winning midfielder role as well, so that's good. And then Eric Lynch, again, young Northern Irish player, did some really good work towards the end of last season. We'll bring him in as well. That's the same for both midfield positions, really, just in slightly different role order. On the right-hand side, Joshua Moses is there and Boateng is there, but I actually see Marcos Silverio and Ronaldo van der Heuvel as the long-term heirs to the throne for that, so I'll be looking to get them in at the earliest opportunity. Moses, out of all of them, is the highest current ability, but he's got the lowest potential threshold. So although his physicals are good, his technicals aren't very good at all, so we'll probably look to phase him out and maybe selling him on. On the left-hand side, Dimitriadis and Itodo. We have got another couple players in the youth system, so Samuel Christopher's one. If we can move a couple players on from the first team squad, which again I think we're going to have to balance the books, then we'll bring another one into the squad at that position. And up front we've got Tony Dunk and Tony Watson, so the two Tonys. I think we'll stay with one up front. As much as I want to play them both regularly, I think the way the midfielders have developed and the three really good ones we've got means that we've got to play with three centre midfielders really as the core of our team. We've got some really good attacking midfielders on the wings, so we really have to play that, which kind of then sits you in the kind of back four scenario and one up top. So I think that's what we're going to go with. Leading on from that then into the tactics, that's what I've gone for at the minute. I think we might have some tweaks to some of the positions in terms of fullbacks. We might turn into wing backs. So if, for example, we took who we want long-term Brewster in there, his actual best position so far, probably inverted or fullback on defend. So we could just put him in defensively to get him some game time where he's a bit more natural. But we'll see as we develop. I like to have them more on a supporting role initially. Brewster's maybe not quite there yet. So we might just have to stick with Coleman at the start and see how we kind of pedal into the game. But that's where we are really. That's the squad. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If we look at the ones who've missed out, I mean that's the full 25, and I try and limit to 25 as best I can. Obviously there's going to be some turbulence as we go through. We've kind of narrowed down the reserve team squad. Now the players in here that have quite a low threshold, what I'm trying to do is just offer them via the transfer route at quite a low nominal fee, so we'll stick in for maybe 25, and we'll see if we can get any kind of fees for any of these that have got a low potential threshold. Trey Brown I've already listed. Andrew McCoist, again we just really we want to just get them off the books. I don't want to loan them out necessarily, but if we can get them as a full transfer gone, that's my kind of choice. So that's what we'll do. I'll play on through and get through the friendlies if we've got just a couple, and then I'll get us ready for the first game of the season. By then we should have narrowed down the squad, hopefully let a couple more players go for a transfer fee, and then we'll be on the settled squad for the league opener away at York. So stick around, it should be an exciting start to the season. Welcome back. So as promised, I've had a look at the training. I think initially what I'll do is I'll share the responsibility. So I'll let him take the main bulk of the block planning. For those who haven't seen it before, it's basically planning in blocks of training week by week within the season. Initially, for the building the fitness pre-season, I'm going to let the assistants take that on. What I have done, however, is I've taken control of the individual training, which allows me to pick which positions I want players to do. And it's been massively eye-opening, really, because what I haven't realised is a lot of the players have been training a position that I haven't specifically wanted them to do. So a lot of my centre-backs were on stoppers or covers rather than a central defender defend. My full-backs were on defend rather than support. So hopefully with these changes taking effect, the players that we've got and we're bringing in, the Marcos Silverios, can train from an early age at the position I want them to play. And that should hopefully bring them up on the positions and the stats that we really want them to do. So my first real foray into training, I've not really dug too much into it over the years because I found it easier just to let the staff do it, but we will take more of an active interest as we move through the seasons and try and get the players to reach the potential we've got. What I'll do though is I'll click through. We're nearly at the start of the season. We've only really let another couple of players go. So in terms of the transfer history, we'll let a few go out on loan. So Hallett, Isaka, Curry and Byrne. And there were another couple that we let go fully. I don't know why it's not showing in there. Free transfers, nope. There was definitely a transfer in there. He might not have left yet. Let me have a quick look. I'm sure we've got one player on his way out. It should be in here somewhere. There you go, Tommy Franson. So he's going on the 1st of August, so tomorrow essentially. We just let him go. He's not got a high potential threshold. We've got a few more players out on that right wing now, so we'll let him go. All that being said, I'll get through to the first game of the season and we'll see how we get on. The preview has gone a bit more favourably than in previous season. We're down to 50 to 1 from 150 odd to 1, so obviously we've got a much better chance of finishing that kind of mid-table position. So my hopes are much higher than they were last season, so let's see how we get on. Okay, so here we go, opening game of the season. A couple changes forced upon us. So Borrowdale is in for, his real kind of full-time debut, I think. Fredericks has picked up an injury, so he's out for a few weeks. Borrowdale's the natural replacement for him, so he'll get some game time and exposure, which is much needed for his development. We've got Brathwaite, Atienza, McAvoy and Coleman in the back four. Coleman coming in as the first choice starter for the season. We do have Brewstat on the bench though, and we want to introduce him at the earliest opportunity for him to realise his potential. Raxo is going to play as a deep line playmaker because I don't like playing with more than one playmaker. Put Spence the ball winning midfielder and Peterson in a centre midfield attack because that kind of balances out their stars. I know in the comment section a lot of people probably say Dean Spence is a 4-star roaming playmaker, and I might just have to tweak these rules as we play games just to get the best out of Spence or Raxo. It's quite hard to shoehorn them both in there as they're both playmakers. However, now that we've got a grip of the individual training, we might be able to develop Raxo either into a more defensive midfielder, not a playmaker, and vice versa, so we'll see. On the right wing, Marcos Silverio is going to come in for his starting debut. He's going to hopefully be our first time full-time right winger. We do have Joshua Moses on the bench if we need him. However, I think we're going to run out of patience with him. He's not going to develop too much further. Silverio's got a much higher threshold, as does Van Hoovel, who's on the bench in reserve. So Dimitriadis on the left. Atodo's unlucky not to be in there, but he's not quite fully fit. And then Dunk, who's going to start most of the season up front. He is our shining light of the players come through so far, the first real striker we've had. So hopefully he can hit the ground running. He got 16 goals last season. I'd like him to get into the 20s this season if he can. In a 46 game season it should be doable, but a lot of that depends on how we play as a team. So the first couple of weeks is going to determine how the positionals kind of pan out within the midfield. I think we can't go two playmakers. I think we're going to have to have some kind of ball winner or a central midfielder within that area. One playmaker who Raxo kind of fills that in the deep line role. It's just how we fit Spence into there. As we go down in the first minute to what looked like a deflected goal, not the start we were looking for. Green into Oriola. I mean, he was clean through. Great covering by McAvoy initially, forces him out wide, and that ball goes in, kind of hits Faz. I don't think it's really a finish, but we find ourselves a goal down very early on, and like we did many times last season, we're going to have some sort of fight back. I probably will step up to balanced, because there's no point playing cautious when you're a goal down the whole way through, but we don't want to leave ourselves too open for an absolute hiding on the opening day, as York are probably one of the fancy teams at the top end. Green with another chance there on the 11th minute. Again, we're going to have to at least play Selly. And we don't have Fredericks, who's our first choice goalkeeper. Borrowdale's only really coming in for his first consistent run in the team. Good break by Coleman there. Can he feed down the right side to Silverio? First time we've really seen him. Good interchange. Coleman again into Peterson, but he couldn't quite get his shot away. It was blocked. Much better though. Good little spread of play down the right hand side. Break for York again though. Green getting more space on. He likes to cut in and kind of curl for that far corner. Going to have to keep an eye on that. The other thing with the tactic I'm not sure on is playing two wingers and having an advanced forward. Is he a bit too isolated? Is Dunk maybe not seeing as much of the ball as we would have liked? Maybe we change one of the wingers into an inside forward and see if that works. Peterson breaks from a corner out to Dimitriadis down the left hand side. Can he beat his man and get something meaningful into the box? In it goes. Couldn't quite find Dunk. Peterson at the edge of the box. He's hit the crossbar. Silverio will get a chance to do something with it. Back to Coleman, in it goes again. Unfortunately, we can't make anything of that attack, but it's a lot better than we were doing in the initial stages of the game. And I think maybe a step away from cautious to balanced as more of a kind of mainstay for the starter of a tactic is probably what we're going to do as we move forward. But again, going back to that point with the wingers, maybe not having two wingers, maybe have one as a winger, one as an inside forward, and kind of interchange what they do. Certainly when we sort out what we're going to do with the midfield, I'm not sure we're making the best use of Spence on a ball-winning midfielder, but maybe we can tweak that as we go into the second half. So if we take him and if we make him the central midfielder attack, and we take Peterson and drop him into a supporting Mazzala, then if we take that winger on the right hand side, let him stay on attack, left hand side, go for an inside forward and see if that makes any difference. And like I say, it's not too bad. We're only a goal down. We've got 45 minutes to get back into the game, and we really need to suss out the best way tactic wise, because again, although I've got control of the player training now, we need to know what we're training them for. So the earlier we can settle on a defined set of positions, the better. Dunk with a corner into McAvoy, good header, but couldn't quite get it on target. Not sure I like Dunk taking corners, but again, that's what the set pieces are coming up with. Spence into Branthwaite, throws in a corner. Silverio, he gets up for a header. Good start for him, good start to the season. Bit too compact there for my liking. Three players close together, but it worked out. Good little triangle. Branthwaite stands up to the back post. Silverio towering over with his hairband. What do you expect from, I think he's a Portuguese player. Spence for Mandanda. Mandanda looks like a really handy player if we can develop him in the right way. He normally plays in that kind of advanced midfield. That's his natural position, but we're now training him to play that kind of central midfielder attacking role, and hopefully that will develop him into a ready-made replacement for Spence as we move forward. 20 minutes to go then. 1-1. Free kick at the edge of the box. Raxo gets a chance. Dunk gets a chance as well. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to hit the target. As we drift up towards the end of the game, we will try and work the ball into the box. Dimitriadis down the left-hand side. In it goes. Cleared initially. Silverio back to Peterson. He has a shot from range, but again, tipped past the post for a corner. Mandanda with a chance to deliver with Spence off on the bench now. Again, we're on the ascendancy. Can we nick 3 points before the end of the game as we go into the final few minutes? Certainly a much better second half than the first half. Just a couple minutes to go. Mandanda through to Dunk. He looked offside to me. Yeah, flags up. Into 5 minutes of injury time. Potter on for McAvoy. The whistle should be going any second now as York make their final chance up the pitch. Silverio cuts there, and that's the end of the half. So a point to start the season. Great comeback, good performance from the players, and it gives you an idea of where we're going to be. So let me know in the comment section how you think we'll get on this season. I'll get through the bulk of the games, and we'll have an update when we get to the youth intake preview. Once again, thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, enjoy your saves, and I'll see you soon.